crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. You know, we just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him the night before last.
Yes, President Trump taking on crime in our nation's capital. He is the president of the United States, after all. We are not the safest city in the world. That's for sure. And in fact, I've got a machete story for you today because, you know, Ungala Balungala, amazing stuff. A man attacked in the Columbia Heights neighborhood of Washington, D.C., a couple of miles from where we live. And a street vendor selling stuff from a table sold something to another man. The man came back a short time later, said, this is not what I had wanted. I'd like to return this. So naturally, the man whipped out a machete and hacked the man with the machete. And the Democrats shrug and say, well, you know, that's what cultural diversity means. That's it's an ethnically rich, culturally diverse neighborhood. Julian No Bueno, I think, is going to be his name from now on. 81 years old, was arrested and charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. I think a machete might even be called a deadly weapon. What did you say? But so we got that going on in Washington, D.C. That's right. President Trump was talking about the Doge member, the member of Doge, who I talked about him yesterday, who was viciously beaten by a mob of Democrats on almost the same neighborhood, not too many blocks from where this machete attack took place, where Julian Bueno, he's 81 years old. You're never too old to be deadly, never too old to be. But this one got my attention this morning because I learned only this morning while I was researching for my big radio show, I discovered that in Australia, it's not only a country, it's a continent. It's both. It's a continent and a country. It's two in one. And in Australia, where they effectively banned guns, at least most guns banned in Australia, and you had to go turn in your guns because the state taking them from you, and that's the plan they have. This is how, now that when the Democrats talk about this is what authoritarianism, rising authoritarianism looks like. This is what actual rising authoritarianism looks like. But in Australia, they have effectively banned almost all firearms in private hands. Kind of an amazing thing. But now in the province of Victoria, they're going one step further because sometime back there was a person that was stabbed and killed. So you'll never guess. This is exactly what people have been, conservatives been talking about for a long time. This is what authoritarianism looks like. They've now banned machetes. They should ban machetes in Washington, D.C., because an 81-year-old Julian Bueno, he attacked a man with a machete and severe lacerations, taken to the hospital and all that stuff. That's okay. We haven't banned machetes yet. Maybe next. But Victoria, Australia sets up machete drop boxes. And you got to see the pictures. They're like the blue mailboxes that we, have in the United States. Do we still have those? I think we do. Australia, but in Australia, they're banning machetes, and when they say machetes, they actually mean knives as well, because you can't have a machete, you can't have a knife because it could be too dangerous if you had one of those. And they've set up drop boxes, and they've got a timeline for you to drop off your machetes in the blue metal drop box. Amazing stuff. The Victoria machete ban and disposal bins rolled out. Isn't that great? And then they've got knives that they're calling zombie knives because you got to give it a scary name. You have to have a scary name because you're banning them. Zombie knives, and then, see, it's not just machetes. Then zombie knives, they're banned too. Here we have ghost guns. Australia, they have zombie knives. They've banned them. They've set up drop boxes so you can go drop off your machete or your zombie knife, which are now illegal. Now that guns are illegal, take away your guns. Now they're coming for your knives. And this is the most extreme of the extreme. But, welcome to North Korea. Australia is morphing and not for the better. When Barack Obama promised the fundamental transformation of America, he, to his credit, he never did say it was going to be for the better. He just said it was just going to be the fundamental transformation. Better schmetter. He's not all about that. Oh, speaking of Democrats, you see they love to call everybody Nazis, right? Everybody's a Nazi, everybody's a fascist. Well, the Democrats launched there's another funny story out of another funny crime story out of Washington, D.C. before I move on to the next thing. A tow truck driver in Washington, D.C. was carjacked, and and you don't do a tow truck driver. Tow truck driver generally, pretty tough guy out on the streets of D.C. doing tow truck stuff. Tow truck carjacked. That's the headline. It was the driver that was carjacked. Tow truck carjacked by a man armed with a rock. A rock. We're going to have to ban rocks now. In Northwest Washington, D.C. I live in Northwest Washington, D.C. It's not very big. But a tow truck driver was carjacked. I'm going to add the word driver to the writing at the ABC station here. A tow truck driver was carjacked late Wednesday evening, and Metropolitan Police Department officials are still looking for the person responsible. Listen to this now. The car was stolen at an intersection of Missouri Avenue Northwest and Kennedy Street Northwest about 8:40 p.m., according to the Metropolitan Police Department. The victim told police that he was approached by a man with a rock. They've finally done it. We're going back to the Stone Age because the Democrats, it's like meet the Flintstones. The Flintstones have attacked Washington. The Democrats have returned us to the pre-Columbian era. I've been talking about this, how they're dragging us back to pre-Christopher Columbus times in the North American continent. Isn't it amazing? And there he is, Yabba Dabba Doo. He's running away with his feet going through the floorboards, pushing the tow truck along Kennedy Avenue. Yeah, isn't that amazing? The victim told police approached by a man with a rock, and he threatened the driver with a rock, pulled him from the car, right? And he stole the vehicle and fled. Vehicle was taken in the incident as a black Ram 4500 Alpha tow truck. That's a nice Ram truck, really great truck. And wait, this might be my favorite part. And they got the license plate number here in case you're looking for it. Authorities are searching for a man. There's a man, and listen to the description they give of the man. Searching for a man who was last seen wearing a black ski mask and a gray shirt. Oh, no. He might be an ICE agent. The Democrats think he might be an ICE agent because he's, who else wears a mask? Oh, yeah, Democrats, criminals, ICE, ISIS, and terrorists that kid Hamas. They wear masks. Yeah, they're searching. What is the man? Tall, short, fat, skinny, black, white? No mention of that. He was just wearing a black ski mask. Couldn't possibly tell any other information about him because of the gloves and the neck brace and the, what is it? So a black ski mask and a gray shirt. So keep your eyes peeled, ladies and gentlemen, for somebody wearing a black ski mask and a gray shirt, because that's the description that has been given. Isn't that great?
Checking on the rock market, huh, Barney?
So in Australia, they're banning machetes and scary knives after having already banned guns, in effect. And the Democrats want to use the Australian model for banning guns here in the United States of America. They're not on our side. They are the Flintstones. And this guy, they're definitely looking for a Democrat wearing a black ski mask with a gray shirt. Was he last seen holding a rock? Shouldn't that be in the description? Because if you're looking for the guy, that'd narrow it down lickety-split. Not everybody's carrying a rock in their hand, but this guy is. He might be that carjacker. Isn't that amazing? And since they're banning machetes in Australia, maybe we should send them this story, and they could ban rocks. But the Democrats see a ski mask, and they think it must be federal law enforcement doing the job. Amazing stuff. Also in the local news today, and this one is quite remarkable as well. It genuinely is. There is a story that is broken. A conservative investigative reporter broke the story that in Fairfax County, Virginia, Fairfax County Public Schools tells News 7 reporter Nick Minnick that they're launching an investigation into claims that school staff in Fairfax County, Virginia, arranged for abortions for 2 different students and didn't tell their parents. The students were girls. They were girls. They were not boys, but Democrats might not be entirely sure. Stories blown up on social media. A report says that school officials in Fairfax County Centerville High School arranged and bankrolled abortions for girls, plural, without so much as a phone call to the parents because they're here to kill the grandkids. No more students for Fairfax County. We killed them all in the womb. But they did harvest their organs. You know how they love to harvest organs. The Democrats really do. Amazing stuff. Report said that the 2 girls, that at least one of the 2 girls involved was 17 years old, not of the age of majority. And, oh, no, I'm preggers. And they said, oh, no problem. We'll have a fundraiser at lunch with the teachers, and then we'll steal you away to the Planned Parenthood clinic, and we'll get you a nice abortion. And the parents won't get any grandkids, but shh, they won't know anything about it. It's just a secret between us. And now, who did a teacher? Maybe was a teacher responsible for knocking them up? They haven't gotten into that. Fairfax County schools replied when asked by Channel 7 in Washington. And they had to put the word "our" in parentheses. Not to our knowledge. So you're going to ask, hey, did the teachers secretly arrange for 2 abortions for teenage girls and not tell the parents? And they say, not to knowledge. And Channel 7 had to put the word "our" in there. Maybe they're illiterate and they can't put a sentence together. We've launched an immediate investigation into these concerns. And as soon as we are made aware, again, this is illiterate. This is the statement from the school. The statement from the school to Channel 7 reads, not our knowledge. We have launched an immediate investigation into these concerns as soon as we were made aware. There we go. Okay. We have launched as soon as we were made aware. Okay, there we go. Channel 7 News also asked Fairfax County Public Schools for their standard operating procedure. Yeah, when a student inquires about an abortion and says, hey, Mr. Sullivan in the science class knocked me up. Abortion with a Fairfax County Public School employee. Although Fairfax County Public School policy states, every effort shall be made to encourage and support students. Sure. Suspecting pregnancy to discuss their concerns with their parents or guardians. Sure, it does not require or even suggest that Fairfax County Public School employees should inform the parents about these conversations. They're having conversations. Isn't that amazing? So that's the teachers. 2 down. You know, how many more to go? More parking for everyone. The Democrat Party. This is the Democrat Party. Amazing stuff. And as to the Democrat Party, while it was definitely a Democrat that carjacked the tow truck driver using a rock like a Stone Age pre-civilizational criminal. Police are looking for a Democrat. And then we had the 81-year-old Mr. Bueno, Julian Bueno, hacking up a man with a machete on 14th Street in Washington, D.C. Not a big thing. And then the Democrats in Fairfax County getting, knocking off the grandkids at school because they're good at all that, aren't they? We've got more crazy because in St. Louis, the St. Louis area in Missouri, the Democrats are on the attack again, and this time there's a Jewish family. Surprise, surprise. One of the men in the family has dual U.S.-Israel citizenship and went to serve a stint in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, the military there, which is required of all Israeli citizens, and just came home, apparently, from Israel. 3 cars at their house firebombed and spray-painted graffiti in the middle of the street. You know how they love fighting fire with fire. And the Democrats firebomb a lot of Jews, don't they? While they're calling everybody Nazis. No sense of irony. And spray-painted in the middle of the street in front of the Jewish family's home. Death to the IDF, death to the IDF, death to the IDF. And the hero of the Democrats, who's a jihadi, Mahmoud Khalil, he did an interview. Was it a sit-down interview? It was, with the New York Times, and you'll never guess what he had to say. Mahmoud Khalil firebombing the Jews, the family in Missouri, St. Louis, and death to the IDF. I got a few Democrat stories coming up for you today. We remain at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. I'm beginning to think there's something wrong with the Democratic Party. So 2 teenage girls show up to school. Hey, I'm preggers. Oh, which teacher did it? They don't ask that right away. I don't know. We're going to have a fundraiser at lunch, maybe a bake sale to raise money so we can get you both abortions because your parents don't need grandkids. And who knows what could happen to you in the meantime. But never mind that. That's good. And Democrat, they got the street vendor out on 14th Street in Columbia Heights. 81-year-old Julian No Bueno. And when you go to return something to his table, he's a vendor, a street vendor. He may hack you up with a machete because Julian Bueno, in his culture, that's perfectly normal. Apparently, he might be an 81-year-old illegal alien who the Democrats invited in long ago. Maybe he crossed more recently with his machete. And I am amazed by what's going on in Australia as well with the machete ban. You know, only the most ardent supporters of the Second Amendment have said in the past, first they come for your guns, then what? They're going to come for your knives? And it's like right on cue. It's almost like Saturday Night Live in Australia. And then drop boxes that are like metal mailboxes here to drop your machete and your other scary knives. Right? And at the same time, I'm not sure Democrats should be allowed to, wander around like normal people. Here's a great one from the New York Post today, America's most important newspaper. Stressed adults, that is to say adults that are experiencing stress, rely on pacifiers. You know, the little rubber nipple things that babies put in their mouth, that you put in a baby's mouth. Stressed adults, that's Democrats, it should say Democrats there, rely on pacifiers to soothe themselves. Quote, I feel a sense of safety from childhood. You are on the wrong drugs. That is really something. When the going gets tough, the tough pop a pacifier. That's right. That's the surprising stress-busting move thousands of young adults in China are making, swapping melatonin and meditation for an adult-sized binky. You call them that? You call them binkies? Sure. Once a niche quirk, the silicone soothers are supposedly now big business, coming to New York soon. We got Mahmoud Khalil today, a hero of the Democrat Party, who did an interview on an alleged podcast with Ezra Klein, who is a New York Times person. And some interesting developments there for the hero of the Democrat Party who wants to wipe Israel off the map, kill all the Jews in it, anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-Western civilization, and a hero of the Democrat Party because they've got a lot of issues, a great many issues. But this morning we woke up to the news out of St. Louis, Missouri. The headline from the Jewish Insider, firebombing targeting Jewish family and IDF veteran rocks St. Louis Jewish community. St. Louis's Jewish community is reeling after a targeted anti-Semitic attack in the pre-dawn hours of Tuesday morning on a family whose college-aged son served in the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. The family, living in a quiet suburban neighborhood with a significant Jewish population, found 3 of their cars burned and a message spray painted on the street in front of their home, which read in part, "Death to the IDF." That's what it read. Now, we were talking about this in England a couple of weeks ago, maybe just a week ago. There was a band playing at a music festival in Glastonbury, England. The band, they call themselves Bob Vylan, like Bob Dylan, but they're Bob Vylan. And the crowd was cheering because the left, all over the world, they're fanning the flames of anti-Semitism. In the United States, it's the Democratic Party that is waging this war. But this was Bob Vylan in Glastonbury.
Have you heard this one, though? Death, death to the IDF! 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 Death, death to the IDF!
Sure, everybody chanting along.
From the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Yeah. He's not a Muslim, but they've all joined in the thing because, this is about critical race theory where all European Anglo-Caucasians are murderous villains and anyone that is one shade off of that is a victim and must be protected even if they're slaughtering your babies and slamming their corpses on pikes around your house. And now in St. Louis, death to the IDF spray painted in front of the home where 3 cars were firebombed. A family lives there, 3 cars. Another part of the message, spray-painted graffiti, specifically targeted the IDF veteran. And it's apparently too vile for the news media to reproduce because they're not reproducing it. Local news reports and members of the local Jewish community said that specifically targeting the IDF veteran American, Jewish American, who's back home now. But the more specific slanders have not been publicly disclosed. The attack has shaken the Jewish community and has faced frequent and heated protests since October 7th, 2023, and the attacks on Israel, the massacre, the largest massacre of Jews since the end of World War II. And Democrats and people that call themselves liberals in England and around the world are pounding the table and celebrating genocide. And that's what they're celebrating is genocide. This is the first time that that activity has turned openly violent in St. Louis. Local and federal officials are investigating the attack as a hate crime. Isn't that amazing? People are just really startled. Rabbi Jeffrey Abraham, a board member of the Missouri Alliance Network, a local political organization dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism and supporting Israel, said the local Jewish community has been on edge for months following the violent anti-Semitic attacks in Washington, where a Democrat, you may remember a Democrat, murdered 2 young people, a young man and a young woman, outside of a Jewish museum event in Washington, D.C. And when he was dragged away, he was chanting "From the river to the sea," if I remember correctly. He was chanting "From the river to the sea" when he was being pulled away by the police.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
It's a civilized person yelling "from Hamas." I think he also said "from the river to the sea." Now, on college campuses, they, like Columbia University and Harvard, lots of Ivy League schools, and George Washington University in Washington, D.C., they had the young students out there, getting with the cause because critical race theory, all so-called Palestinians are victims, all Israelis are victimizers because they give them electricity and clean water and modern medicine and connectivity to the outside world, and gave them Gaza and moved out of Gaza and set up their elections for them so they could elect Hamas, a terrorist organization. But on college campuses in the United States, it's become commonplace. You'll see these chants, you'll see the graffiti, you'll see this stuff projected on the sides of buildings. This is what the left is doing in the United States, what the Democrat Party is doing in the United States. The next generation will be wearing armbands and building rail spurs. Isn't that amazing? So, yeah, the rabbi in St. Louis says, we've been on edge for months now after the anti-Semitic double homicide in Washington and in Boulder, Colorado, too. Remember the Democrats in Boulder, Colorado, with all that. So, but when it actually happens in our own backyard, it takes on a different meaning. I think people are legitimately worried and also just really upset, Rabbi Abraham said. Abraham said that he and other Jewish leaders are in close touch with local law enforcement, but attacks targeting individual families are harder to prevent, sure, than those targeting Jewish institutions, naturally. But look, the Democrat Party has done this to the country. They are entirely responsible for this. And then like 1% actual jihadis, but overwhelmingly it is the Democrat Party that's driving all of this. Isn't it amazing? So 3 firebombing, and keep in mind that the Democrats firebomb a lot. They Democrat two Molotov cocktails at the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro, who is Jewish and a Democrat, had his home firebombed after the Seder dinner, just amazing. This is what the Democrats have done with his family inside, and they fortunately weren't burned to death, but that was the goal, of course. And the Democrats got the 2 young Jewish young man and woman murdered in Washington, D.C. The attacks, there have been attacks on college campuses and all over the place, the Democrat Party. Now, at the same time, the Anti-Defamation League, I was almost surprised to see this. Anti-Defamation League is supposed to stand up for Jewish people in the United States. It's run by Jonathan Greenblatt, who was an Obama White House official, and they pretty much went silent after the Obama guy took over. But they had a spokesman, Jordan Kadash with the Anti-Defamation League on the attack. Firebombing, again, 3 vehicles, and then the personalized attack on the Jewish American who served in the IDF, and the death to the IDF, which is a Hamas chant. And the Democrats have brought the jihad to the United States. Jordan Kadash of the Anti-Defamation League.
When you hear somebody say globalize the Intifada, this is what it looks like. It looks like burned out cars on suburban streets in America. This is not confined when somebody says that they want to take this fight to Jews around the world.
Exactly, because in America, you're going to find a lot of the Jews around the world because they came here to be safe from this kind of thing generations ago. But the Democrat Party, in the name of liberalism, has turned that all around. The Columbia University Hamas protest, they globalize the Intifada, right? Who's pushing globalize the Intifada? Any heroes of the Democrat Party? Like Mahmoud Khalil? Columbia University, where Mahmoud Khalil went for his master's degree.
Intifada, Intifada. Long live the Intifada.
There is only one solution, Intifada revolution. Isn't that amazing? And when you say globalize the Intifada, this is what it looks like. Attacking the homes of Jews and under cover of night. Every Nacht is crystal Nacht in Democrat Party land at UC Berkeley.
We support the Intifada. We support the Intifada. We support the Intifada.
These are wealthy white students.
Long live Palestine. Long live Palestine. Long live Palestine.
At Columbia University at UC Berkeley in California. The Democrats out on the streets of America. The Democrat Party is engaged in a form of civil war against our civilization, and it is a violent movement. You can call it a movement, I think. It is a violent movement, and it has led to murders and fire bombings, arson attacks, and deaths, and it's funny. Yeah, and then the FBI chief, the Democrat FBI chief, the greatest threat to America is white extremism. I'm sorry, it's what? White nationalism, white extremism. Can you list for me the crimes committed by them? Isn't it amazing? New York City, where they love the Intifada as well.
There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution.
This is 100% on the Democrat Party. From Berkeley to Columbia University to the streets of New York, even in Toronto, Canada. There's only one solution, Intifada revolution. It is genocide that they're advocating. From the river to the sea. Again, you ask them what river, what sea, and they're so dumb that they don't know. It's pretty amazing stuff. But Mahmoud Khalil is a hero of the Democratic Party. He claims to be a Palestinian. He was born in Syria, I believe, and he came to America and he lied on his student visa application when asked, "Do you belong to any organizations that are about being genocidal lunatics and destroying Israel and killing all the Jews?" Said, "Oh no, not me." That was a lie. Any other extremist organizations might be concerned about. Belongs to an organization that is dedicated to the total destruction of Western civilization. And he said, no, not me. And isn't this amazing stuff? Now, Mahmoud Khalil, another hero of the Democrat Party, who's a genocidal, Jew-hating Nazi fascist, while they call everybody Nazis and fascists, and Hitler. We even had that idiot Democrat congresswoman from Texas. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett calling Trump is Hitler, right? Yeah. And then they got back to killing the Jews, gassing the Jews. Mahmoud Khalil, here is the headline from today, and this is JTA. Mahmoud Khalil pushes back on claims of anti-Semitism at Columbia in Ezra Klein interview. Oh, no, we just want to wipe out the state of Israel. That's not anti-Semitism. I would say there is a manufactured hysteria about anti-Semitism at Columbia because of the protests, he said. Now, here's Mahmoud Khalil sitting down with Ezra Klein of the New York Times, who never really pushed back on anything.
I want to get into the chants, like from the river to the sea, from globalize the Intifada, about all of that. Like I heard someone on your podcast saying like, oh, I don't like the chant to globalize the Intifada. Yeah, like don't like it. Like it's not being chanted for you to like it. It's actually to make you uncomfortable. So you have to think about your complicity.
Kill the Jews, exterminate all the Jews. And Mahmoud Khalil, it's and this is, they don't know what river, they don't know what sea.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. From the sea to the river. Palestine will
This is on the streets of Manhattan, New York City, and Mahmoud Khalil can be seen in the crowd inciting genocide like the German Nazis did of the Socialist Workers' Party. Sitting down with New York Times, Ezra Klein.
October 7th happens. What do you think that day?
To me, it felt frightening that we had to reach this moment in the Palestinian struggle.
It felt frightening that we had to reach this moment in the Palestinian struggle, he said. Isn't that amazing? I've got more of the heroes of the Democrat Party, Ezra Klein and Mahmoud Khalil. What do you say? It was frightening that we had to reach this point, not a condemnation of the massacre, biggest massacre of Jews since the end of the Holocaust in World War II. And know that Mahmoud Khalil is being defended by Democrats in the Senate, in the House, in state houses around the country, in academic circles, on college campuses. He is the hero of the story. All right? The terrorist group Hamas, they're the victims, and the dirty, rotten, stinking Jews must be killed. This is where the Democrat Party is. They're defending the latter and not the former.
From the river to the sea?
Yes.
Okay, which river, which sea?
The Sea of...
So you don't know that? No. The answer was the Mediterranean and the Jordan.
But that's too much learning Yeah, and keep in mind, you have people like Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat Senator Illinois, in the Senate, tweeting out his Free Mahmoud Khalil. Mahmoud Khalil is a genocidal racist, a genocidal anti-Semite. He's also an extraordinarily anti-American. And the Democrat Party applauds him, and they champion him. And who are the bad guys again? Oh, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's the villain of the story. Too strong for Western civilization. All right, let's grab a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Terry, calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Terry, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Terry.
I have a solution to this rioting and marching around protesting. Since they love to march and keep informed and attack and speak the same language, why don't the president draft all of them and say, serve our country and do the same thing for our country?
That's an interesting idea. I can tell you that the majority of the people in the United States military don't want to draft those people. The leadership, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff don't want to draft those people. They don't want those people in the military. And we've got another big problem, Terry, and that is that most people that would be of draft age aren't physically fit enough to join the military.
Ain't that a shame?
Ain't that a shame? And you know why, Terry, that the majority of people that age are not physically fit enough to join the military?
Yeah, they're too addicted to their cell phones.
Because of Democrats, because they
and them too.
President Trump is talking about bringing back this fitness thing for schools. He is bringing back the fitness thing for schools for students, and the Democrats are angry about that. They're angry about everything, but they're angry about what do you mean kids have to be physically fit? And the Democrats are opposed to that. Drafting the loser lunatics, the glassy-eyed zombies that the Democrat Party has created. Now, again, Michael and I were listening to some of this audio this morning of them chanting from the river to the sea and being told what to chant and chanting it back. And it always reminds us of Monty Python. The Democrats have taken what used to be comedy, Monty Python movies and Monty Python television shows and Mel Brooks movies, and they've made it our modern reality. What used to be satire, the Democrats have turned into the real world. They are very unwell, and as a result, our culture is having a lot of problems. Thanks, Terry.